And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to our second series of the broadcast. Welcome back to the Masters of the Game, round of 28, the preliminary round. Here we go, here we go. We are jumping into our next series, and spawning in the left-hand corner of Ultra Love, we have our Canadian Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss. Representing Basilisk, it is a Trigger. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the German Terran player. We have the red Terran representing Mouse. It is HeRoMaRinE. It's the big game. Let's go. Let us go, as we are jumping into our fresh best of 5, and if you're in the chat, predictions are now open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat. Best of luck, Pappy. Best of luck, because we have our TvP. Bienvenidos, Pappy. Bienvenidos. I do apologize for not giving you a shout out earlier, but a big shout out to Eva. A big shout out to Eva. Thank you so much for the raid. Hope you had a great stream. Hope you had a great ladder session as well, and welcome, welcome, one and all, to the Masters of the Game early preliminary stage. Again, this is a big event that is organized and run by the French community that's about to be taking place over in France, in Paris, towards the end of the month. Towards the end of the month, towards the end of the tournament, towards the playoff stage. Until then, of course, we still have the early rounds. We still have the group stage as well. We have the online portion. We're here to determine which players will make it through into that group stage. We just had Shin advancing on over Creator. Now we're here to determine our next player to make it through. Let's go. Let us go. Again, it's great to see some North American representation in the early rounds as well. Here we have a Trigger. We also have Estrella down the line as well. Bearing in mind that Trigger is playing from South Korea. As a reminder, he is in Korea. He's been in Korea for quite some time, for a year at this point. It's crazy. It's been there for a very, very long time. Of course, did return to Canada for like the DreamHack Dallas kind of period of the year, around DreamHack Dallas, but of course did return after or even before EWC. Now he is back and has been improving quite heavily over the past year as well, to the point where is Trigger favored against Gabe. I don't know if I can go that far, but I can see this going either way. I can see this going either way here. It's not going to be easy. So far, economic opener. Economic start out of Gabe, going Racks Expand, a delayed second Gas Geyser out of our Terran player. Meanwhile, Trigger back at home going for a standard opener himself. Let's go. Safety shield battery at the natural, shield battery in the main base as well. Really sick bumper animations, for sure, for sure. Like, again, shout out to Comeback TV for making all the animations and the graphics as well. The intro is sick. The intro, the break screen, beautiful, man, beautiful. I look forward to how they, make the offline event as well. Look forward to it. For now, we have a Technical Choice Twilight Council opener out of Trigger. Nothing crazy, nothing too wild. We're expecting a safe opener out of our Protoss player. We're expecting 3 Gate to blink into a Robo on 2 bases before expanding and getting a third is the go-to in PvT. Especially on a smaller map. Trigger does scout. He does get eyes on the 111. Gets eyes on the Tech Lab on the factory. So far we have our early Cyclone. Oh, my apologies. I assumed it was going to be a blink-based opener, but no, we're going into charge instead. Okay. Now, going into early charge is designed to hard counter something like a 2-base all-in, especially a 2-base tank push. Now, tank production has begun. We have a medevac on the way. HeRoMaRinE didn't really open up too aggressively here, but he is pushing early. He's been cranking out nothing but Marines. Cyclone is on the way to reinforce. This is an early push, and we'll see what Gabe can get done here. We'll see if he ever extends, because again, Zealots are going to be amassing, but they still need more time. As Trigger does scout the move out, does spot the push. Charge is halfway done. And Trigger, he does need a little bit more time. Gets Marine. Gets 1 and gets 2. Picks off 2 Marines. The initial tank has arrived. Gabe pushing towards the natural. Charge is still a couple of seconds away though. And Trigger still needs more time. Cyclone jumps over the wall. Walks into a Zealot. Lock-on is broken. Charge is done in 5 seconds. Yeah, there's Guardian Shield diving on the army. The tank is going to go down. Takes down the tank, going for the medevac. One more volley. Oh, medevac barely does escape, barely gets away. And some brutal trades there for Trigger. Trigger bleeds out a lot of stalkers. Oh my god. And Gabe gets cleaned up. He does get cleaned up here. When it comes to the trade, he lost a Cyclone, lost his tank, lost 7 Marines for 3 Stalkers and a handful of Zealots. Overall, a better trade for Trigger. That was expensive losses here for Gabe. And Trigger can now expand. Remember, he played it safe. We spoke about it, but these charge-based openers are very safe. They keep you safe against these early tank pushes. So a solid start here. Oh, as the medevac goes down to this, goes down to the feedback. Medevac goes down. Third base on the way for both players. Gabe is expanding, so is Trigger. So we're going to slow things down. Both players were building up. Trigger rushing into Storm alongside Blink. Gabe getting to his own bio upgrade. Stim, combat shields +1, all is on the way. It's all on the way. Why doesn't he recall the medevac? Oh, I think he was out of energy. Too many mules, baby. Too many mules. Cap. Meanwhile, Trigger gets into the main base. He does scout, does confirm the 3rd TC that is on the way. So Trigger, he knows that there's no all-in coming. He knows that he can afford to expand faster and focus on his own greed, his own economy. So Trigger, he knows he's relatively safe. Scan, ooh, does catch the initial observer. Nice catch out of Gabe. Does catch the observer. Ghost Productions on the horizon. Here comes the Academy. Gabe is being active, and we'll see if he can potentially punish the 4th. It's moving out. Does move out. Trigger, he spots the army. They do spot each other. No major losses. Again, we're getting into the mid game. Both players are expanding. I do prefer Gabe's economic position here. He's on an equivalent base count to Trigger, both on 3 bases. Both equivalent saturation. Trigger, he needs that 4th. Need that 4th base. Storm on the medevacs. Soften them up at least a little bit. Better Storm on the bio. We're throwing out a lot of storms. Not many connecting. Trigger, we gotta be careful here. So far, does run away. He still has 2, soon to be 3 storms in the chamber. Does land. Yeah, nice storms. We have more storms coming in. And Trigger, he will clean this up. He's pushing on forward, headed towards the 3rd base. Remember, behind this, no tanks. No tanks, no Widow Mines, no factory production, and Gabe is being broken. He's being broken here and now. Oof. More storms connecting. We just blanket the army. Boys are being pulled, but that was the final storm. Again, Trigger, he was very Trigger happy with those storms. And he has run out, but it's still barely enough. Yeah, barely enough here. Takes down the medevacs. GG gets called. Trigger, he snowballs out of control, and Trigger, he takes game number 1. Whew. GG. Trigger, he does take a lead in the series. Again, a very strong start at Trigger. We were emphasizing how Trigger did take a lead early when it came to dealing with the tank push. I did prefer Gabe's economic position coming into the mid game, but we saw that Trigger, he was able to move out with that storm timing. He was able to strike then and there before Gabe was able to get any additional tanks, any defensive setup at the 3rd base. No tanks, no Sim City, no bunker, no nothing at the 3rd. GG. Whew. GG, well played. With that, Trigger, he does take a lead in the series, and now we're going to be getting into Tokamak. Tokamak is going to be game 2. Getting into game 2. Tokamak, of course, is going to be a larger map in the map pool. It does mean that some more safe defensive play is going to be more preferred here on Tokamak. I would imagine that Gabe is going to go for a more macro start, more macro-oriented start, but we'll see. We'll see how Gabe does adjust. There's a higher chance that Trigger doesn't open charge this time. We should be seeing Blink. Stargate play can be viable on Tokamak, true, opening up Stargate Phoenix. It is rarer nowadays, but still viable in certain instances. There we go. There we go. So we're getting into our next game, getting into game 2. Stormiko GG. Again, we were trying to emphasize that Gabe had a worse start to the game, which gave Trigger a little momentum. Something we bring up quite a lot when it comes to TvP is Terran vs Protoss is very momentum based. If you deal damage early on, if you gain a lead early on, it can be difficult for your opponent to recover from that lead. Can be difficult, but here we go. We're getting into our next game, getting into game 2, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Tokamak. We have the blue Protoss player, the Canadian Protoss, representing Basilisk, leading the series 1-0. It is a Trigger. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the German Terran player. We have the red Terran representing Mouse. It is HeRoMaRinE. Este game. Here we go. So jumping into game 2, again, welcome on all to Tokamak. Tokamak is a larger map of the map pool, more defensive map as well. We do often favor and we do often have a lot of longer and later games, but hey, do you see what I see? Double gas opener this time out of Gabe. With a double gas opener, that means a faster factory, it means faster tech is going to be available. This can lead into a couple of different things here. We can open up Mine Drop, we can open up early Cyclone, early tanks. This can lead into an early add-on swap into early Banshee production as well. Regardless, we have a more tech heavy start out of Game. Technically, this can turn into a one-base all-in, but we're not really expecting that on a large map like Tokamak. So just factory expand. So we are setting up. As I mentioned before, going for charge makes a little more sense on these smaller maps like Ultra Love or Pylon as well. We saw that at a Trigger in game 1. We're not really expecting that here in game 2. We're leaning more towards Blink, as it allows you to gain map control. It does set you up for a longer game. So now we're setting up. There's that CC on the low ground. Reaper moves out to scouts. There's no early zealot or anything crazy like that, so there's no pressure here on the CC of Gabe. Reaper breaks in and should be able to get away. Pulls out, pulls away. We have a sentry follow-up, so that is going to allow for a hallucination scout to get a read on the opener of Gabe, as he already has his starport on the way. Here comes that hallucination. Bearing in mind the Trigger, he did not probe scout, so this is going to be the first scout here for Trigger to confirm what exactly is going on. Reapers pull out. And we'll see if we go for the add-on swap. So here comes that hallucination. It's going to be early Cyclone. Early Cyclone. Once again, just keeping eyes on that starports. Going for the medevac, going for the drop. And Trigger does confirm. So Trigger, he knows that a drop is on the way. Back at home, he's setting up. There's a Twilight Council, Robo, all on 2 bases. Again, Trigger is going for a late third, playing very safe. And here comes the drop. Drop into add-on swap into Banshee. Let's go. Sorry, into Raven. We're not going into Cloak. We're not investing into Banshee, so we're not going to be as committed. Oh, drop is spotted. Trigger, he knows. He knows, he is aware. Okay, we're trying to jig him out. Boost over towards the main base instead. Okay, he rotates over. Trigger, he's in position. Shield battery is ready. Oh. I like taking a couple of hits. Trigger defends. Trigger, he's defending well. But Trigger, he's still on 2 bases. Oh, yeah, and his expansion is going to be denied. Nice pickup. That's Trigger, he finally does expand. So again, late 3rd base out of Trigger. At the same time, though, Gabe was also a little bit more committed on 2 bases as well. As Trigger, he's taking up a lot faster this time into Storm. Storm is on the way. Gabe rushing into Stim. I say rushing because Gabe, he makes 1 tank. 1 tank, then straight into Stim. So early Stim timing out of Gabe. The tank count is going to be a lot lower. It's going to be very low here. Just the 1. And we'll see if Trigger can get ready in time. This can turn into a 2-base all-in if he throws down 2 more Raxes, so we'll keep an eye on the Rax counts. Otherwise, he could get a 3rd CC. So, Gabe, he could expand, could throw down 2 more Raxes. We'll see if he doubles down. As Storm will be ready. It will be ready in time for Stim. SCV's in position. Looks like he will expand. Oh, never mind. Okay, there's. I was a little bit perplexed. But there we go. CC's on the way. So Gabe, he is not all in. So let's move out. High Templar getting ready. Raven harassing into the main base. Gets 2 probes. Gabe is moving in. Oh, God. The first storm was brutal. Yeah, the Prism is going to go down. But the storms, they shut down most of the Marines. Now we're getting on top of the tanks. You get out of here. Yeah, tank goes down. Brutal pickups. And Gabe, he will lose everything. He'll lose everything. Doesn't save, doesn't pick up, doesn't save anything. 2 empty medvacs get away. And that was a brutal loss for Gabe. He wasn't all in, but he committed so hard to that. In the end, Gabe gets cleaned up. He will lose map control, and Gabe, he cannot expand. He's going to be stuck on 2 bases. He should be contained. As that was a brutal loss for Gabe. Trigger moves in. Trigger, he hasn't seen the command center, so he's not fully aware as to what's going on, but he should soon scout the CC. Gabe is taking his 3rd. And Trigger has momentum, for sure. He has momentum. He's building up more High Templar. Trigger, he spots the command center. He knows. And Trigger, he's taking up. So Trigger, he has a choice to make here. Honestly, Trigger, if he wanted to, he could have thrown down more gateways, and he could have just struck here and now. There's not really much to defend. Trigger, he could try to break this, but he's opting to not just expand, but take up into a bay, into Colossus. So Trigger, he's just going to slow things down and build up into the mid-game and get into Colossus production. At the same time, Gabe is also working towards Ghosts. So we're getting into a longer game here. Again, the reason why you do need to get out of High Templar and out of Storm is because of the higher Ghost count. So ideally, you do want to diversify your splash damage, have Storm, have Colossus, so you force out not just Ghosts, but force out Vikings as well. You don't want to be stuck with just one. As Trigger is just getting comfortable, getting very comfortable here. We spoke earlier how Tokamak is known for longer and more defensive games. It's easier to defend on 4 bases on this map than any other map in the map pool. Arguably any other map in the map pool. So Trigger, he just calms down. Calms down. There's the first Colossus. Nice harass out of Gabe. Gets 4 probes. 4 probes going down. And Gabe, he is pushing. How good are the EMP is going to be? There's going to be 7 High Templar. 7 Templar, 3 in the War Prism. Storms. Oh god, they do. Oh no! No splits. No splits whatsoever. He does take the storms to the face. Brutal storms. Ah. He takes them to the face. And Trigger is pushing. He takes the fight. He can move out. Nice EMP on the Colossus. Vikings are amassing. The Colossus will be the first to go down. Oh, can we save it? Oh my god. Storm zones away. The Colossus does pull away in time. Trigger, he holds his own. Behind this, second starport, massive Viking on the way. At the same time, Trigger going into double Colossus production. So Gabe is getting ready. But again, for the most part, Gabe, he has lost map control. He's going to be forced back home. Still only 4 High Templar. Storm mainly zones. We're running out of storms. 1 storm grazes the army. And I believe that was the final storm. Yeah, that was the final storm here for Trigger. Ay, ay, ay. I'm not so sure about engaging. Colossus are going down. The Trigger, the Prism falls as well. Gabe, he's kiting back. Kite back to the mines, cleans up all the Zealots, gets us over the Immortals, and Gabe, he will win this fight. Again, Trigger, he ran out of storms early. Hey, but the Colossus make it. True. They do make it out. Get out of here. The Colossus will escape. We got a 4th Colossus on the way. But again, those were brutal losses for Trigger. He did overstay his welcome. He stuck around too long, especially after he realized that he had limited storms. And Gabe is soon to max out and soon to just push across the map. Like, Gabe has a lot of momentum here. That fight just went too poorly. Now, if Trigger is given time, he can build up more High Templar and try to buy himself some more time to mass up his army. We got 5 Templar morphing in. Yeah, 7 in total. But Gabe is maxed. He's maxed out. We have a Fusion Core on the way, so Gabe, he's just refining his army and building up into the late game. Fusion Core is going to be for Liberators, for Liberator range. That will be ideal. Gabe does push. Does move out. So Trigger, he's out of position. Storm does buy some time. The Storm mainly zones. Nice CMP. Colossus is going to be going down. Forces Storm on the Vikings. 1 Colossus falls. He gets a 2nd Colossus as well. Down to 1. Sorry, down to 2. Decent storms though. Viking count is reset and Trigger holds. Trigger, he does hold on. Again, Gabe, he threw away all his Vikings. Has to build up once again. So he didn't kite back. The army's overstimmed. Trigger even cashing out a ghost. Very nice. Let's catch a ghost. Momentum back in his favor. He's got 4 High Templar, 2 with the army. Oh, the rest are coming in. Once again, the storms are feeling a little bit premature here. Again, the storms are they're finite here for Trigger. Gotta be careful. Maybe connects. It does connect. Trigger, he's about to have 2 storms. Some more Zealots are coming in. Brutally MP, 0 storms for Trigger. And he cannot quite force himself forward. Here we go though. More High Templar coming in. The Colossus, they still stand strong. And the storms are finally landing. And Trigger just the 1 storm. He needs more Zealots. As Gaby's barely holding on. He's barely holding on. Here comes another Warp in. Down to 2 Colossus. And Gabe holds. Gabe, he does hold on. Again, the EMPs were brutal. We only had 1 storm. Throughout that entire fight, we had, what, 7 High Templar? Only 1 storm landed. Ay, ay, ay. And with that Trigger, he backs off. Thankfully, this time he does back off. He does retreat. That we're holding on. Trigger, if he wanted to, I mean, he doesn't really have the economy for it yet, but he could start to work towards Sky Toss if he slows things down. Gabe still has a terrifying army. Trigger moving out once again. Still looking for a way in. We spoke about Liberators earlier. Still, unfortunately, no Liberators yet for Gabe. He did not get Liberator range. Just like the first Colossus. Storms are landing. Gabe, he does stand in the storm, but he does EMP. Yeah, lands EMP, takes down the Colossus. Denies the warp in. And Trigger, he will lose this fight. Losing his final Colossus. Yeah, no storm, no Zealots. At the same time, does cost him the mineral line though. Okay. 14 SCV kills. Zealots, they got in. Did get in. Trigger force back. Now finally working towards Disruptors. Disruptors on the way. But again, these fights have been brutal for Trigger. Like, time and time again, his Colossus count gets reset, his Robo count gets reset. It takes a long time to rebuild that. Escape, he weathers the storm. And at this point, we're done with Colossus. Okay. this point, we're going into Mass Disruptor. We'll come down to the control. Comes down to the Novas. They're building back up. We have 3, soon to be 5 Disruptors. Oh. This Trigger, he should not be pushing in. Calming down. Yeah, attempted Zealot Rumble on the right. Gabe, he's in position, he does reinforce. Armies are deflected. Gabe, he just scanned, he just sold the Disruptors. Now we have some weird Liberators on the way. And Liberator range. Gabe, he's getting there. He's about to have that freedom. It's coming. Trigger is finally maxed out, and this is the point where we can start to potentially throw down something like a Fleet Beacon, even just for the mothership. But for now, he's still just maxing out with disruptors. This one disruptor is barely going to get away. Trigger pulls away, gets us up of the gold. Gabe coming in from behind. Disruptor does go down, gets one. Down to 5. Never goes off. Oh my god, brutal connection. Takes down the Ghost. Ghost go down. He walks into the storms. So far, solo control here. Another Nova does. Ooh, crazy army. Takes down the Ghost. Yeah, more Ghosts going to be falling. Brutal connections. Almost every Ghost goes down to the Novas. Ay, ay, ay. Gabe, he does take the Novas to the face. Down to, I believe, 1 Ghost. Yeah, 1. 1 Ghost survives. Connections. Trigger, he attempts to Zealot run by. He rotates once again. Trigger, he has been out trading. And he will take down the expansion. Ooh, brutal Novas once again. A bit of friendly fire, but overall the planetary goes down. 6 workers. Most of the army. Zealot busts into the mineral line. The natural. Gabe, he is struggling. Yeah, he has been struggling. He's slowly falling apart. Results moving in. Oh. As this time the Novas don't quite connect. He needs that expansion, and we're going to be trading bases. For the first time in a long time, Trigger, he will lose the Nexus. At the same time, though, CC is going to go down. And do we commit to the base trade? Do we just send it? Bearing in mind, Trigger, he can always recall. He can always recall back home. Yeah, Planetary's under fire. Trigger trying to defend. Oh, but once again, brutal friendly fire. As Trigger, he will lose 3 bases here. 3 next side going down, potentially 4. And Trigger, he's falling apart. He's falling apart, moving into liberation zones. Losing far too much back at home. That's going to be 4 bases falling and a mineral line. Trigger taking a lot of losses. Does have a bank. Oh, there we go. Jesus. Once again, the Novas. Calm down. Novas reconnect. But at the same time, we're running out of Novas. Likewise, no Storm. No Storms either. Gaby's moving in. Liberators have arrived. Nice Storm. Storm does connect. Trigger's going to have 1 Nova. Liberators on siege. Trigger, now is his time. Oh god, barely doesn't break through though. It doesn't break through. Trigger is up against the wall. The Colossus barely holding on. There's only 1 Viking. Down to 0 Vikings. Yeah, 0 Vikings left, and Trigger, he should be able to defend. Takes down the final Liberator. The Colossus, they just rain down on the main army. The lasers, baby. Oh my god. Yeah, he barely kites away, and Gabe, he will lose everything. Still very close, very clutch. Gabe, he escapes with mainly medevac. That's a lot of medevacs. That's his supply. That's his army supply. Almost purely medevacs. Gabe, he scans. He spots top left. But Trigger, he's holding. He's barely holding on. GG gets called, and Trigger, he catches out the main army, and Trigger, he will take a lead. He will extend his lead in the series. GG. Whew, GG, well played. A very intense back and forth. We saw some brutal trades for both players. We did see some brutal trades from the side of Trigger, from the side of Gabe. But alas, in the end, Trigger, he was able to pop off, specifically when it came to not just his disruptors, even his storms. Even though he barely had any storms connecting, when they did, Gabe, he will take them to the face. He had a really hard time splitting and spreading against the storms, and I would say the same about the disruptor shots as well. The purification novas, more often than not, they were connecting. We had some brutal novas on the main army time and time again, catching out ghosts, catching out the marines as well, and barely towards the end there, Trigger, he was able to hold on. Things were looking dire when it came to the base trade. Remember, Trigger, he lost 4 bases. 4 Nexi went down. So things were looking quite dire there for Trigger, but was able to race back home just in time to defend. He also was able to reset the Viking count, so he was able to rebuild his Colossus, and the Colossus actually traded very, very well towards the end of that game in that final fight. GG. GG, well played. Ooh, with that, Trigger, he does take a 2-0 lead, and Trigger, he is 1 game away from claiming the series. Uno más, papi, uno más. The bank saved Trigger. Kind of, yeah. I mean, Trigger, he had, what was it, like 4k mineral bank? He had a really large mineral bank. He didn't really have much gas to work with, but he had a lot of minerals, so he can keep reinforcing, warp in with more zealots at least. Here we go. Catching up. Trigger has no observer, so he can't see and storm that well. That's true. Trigger, he had very limited vision when it came to like how he could engage. That's in regards to like the early half of the game. Trigger's in such a good spot because he has the entire map. Kind of. I mean, it's a little bit more standard for Protoss players to like gain map control towards that stage of the game. As you saw, despite that, like Gabe, he was still taking down a lot of bases. He was still fighting back. Like that was still a very, very close game towards the end. I think both players had like 30 workers. Like both players had a really small army as well. Well, still very close. Still very clutch. But here we go, we're jumping into our next game. We're jumping into game number 3, potentially the final game of the series. As it's been a while. It's been a while as we're loading into a much older map in the map pool. It's been a couple of years since we featured it regularly in tournaments. Welcome to Gressvan. As spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Gressvan, we have the Canadian Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss representing Basilisk, leading the series 2-0. It is a Trigger. We be vibing. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have the German Terran player. We have the red Terran representing Mouse. It is HeRoMaRinE. Big game. Here we go. The pressure is on again. Gabe, he is down 0-2 in the series, and we're loading into Gressvan. As a reminder, Gressvan was a ladder map back a couple of years ago. I want to say, if I'm not mistaken, around like 2023, like around 2023 era of StarCraft. It's been a couple of years. Gressvan back in the day was one of the more macro maps in its map pool. I would still say the same here as well. Gressvan is a very large map, but likewise a lot of bases, very defendable here on your 3-4 base setup as well. And we do often see longer and later games, similar to what we saw in Tokamak, is what we're expecting on Gressvan. But we'll see. We'll see how Gabe does adjust his approach, as once again, double gas opener out of the Terran. We go. So you check Gressvan? Yes, right. I should also emphasize this tournament is featuring an extended map pool. I say extended. I think we're replacing a couple of maps. Let me just double check here. Yeah, a couple of maps have been replaced here for Maestros of the game. So this tournament does not feature Lost Fantasy. Lost Fantasy is out. Torches is also out as well. So there's no Lost Fantasy, no Torches. Instead, they've been replaced with Grespan and Golden Wall and Sandworm as well. The third map that was removed was Ley Lines, that's it. So in this tournament, there's no Ley Lines, Lost Fantasy, or Torches. Instead, we got Grespan, Golden Wall, and Sandworm. And we've already featured a couple of games on Sandworm and Grespan. We have yet to feature a game on Golden Wall. For good reason, like, Golden Wall is a little bit more quirky. I say quirky, I guess we've had a lot of maps similar to Golden Wall. We always make reference. Golden Wall was kind of like one of the first of its kind. Talking about El Dorado, for example, or Torches. A map that has part of it completely sealed off by minerals before opening it up. Now though, Gabe is going to be deflected. Last game, Gabe did open up with the early Reaper Hellion in towards drop play. Into Raven, not Banshee. We'll see if he does the same this time, as we have invested a little bit harder here into Reaper Hellion. Triple Reaper, double Hellion, headed towards the natural. Trigger trying to keep up. Hellion's take it in. Trigger forced to pull away. So far, so good. This time, no Raven. This time, it is going to be the initial Banshee. So, Banshee opener here out of Gabe. Investing harder into Cloak. These Reapers, they slip into the natural. Right, Hellions into the natural as well, getting into the mineral line. The head probes are taking a lot of hits. That shield battery putting in a lot of work, and so far, Trigger does hold. He does hold, takes down the Hellion, takes down the Reaper, does defend. Now, the scary thing here is that because of this defense, because of the force fields, and because of the Guardian Shield as well, it means no Hallucination Scout. Not yet. So Trigger, he doesn't see what's coming his way. He's not aware of the Cloak Banshee, as he's been forced to spend his energy defensively instead. So in a sense, even though Gabe isn't dealing that much economic damage, he's at least denying the Scout. And you can argue that that's good enough. As Reaper does get the main, does get eyes on Blink and on the Temple Archives. So Blink into early Storm before the third. We have our first Banshee, second Banshee's on the way. And here comes that Hallucination. Again, because the Scout is so late, he will not Scout Cloak, but can he spot one of the Banshees? Barely not. Yeah, the Banshee's already gone. There's the add-on swap. Upon noticing this add-on swap, he should be aware that, of course, there was a tech lab on that starport for quite some time. So Trigger, he can piece it together. But there's not much in the main. And two Banshees, they can one-shot workers. Can one-shot. Banshees move in, they can one-shot. Junior Pro's going to be going down. Has to line up those shots. There we go. It's going to be 4, 5, 6 probe kills already. Very nice. And the Banshees, they can try to get away. Oh, this is getting out of hand. Yeah, this is getting out of hand here. 9, 10 probe kills, 11 probes going down. He's not done. And he may just sack the Banshees. 13. Can we get 14? Oh, barely not. 13 worker kills. Nice damage here from Gabe. Behind this, working on that next step. Stim, combat shields +1. Not a 2-base all-in. Gabe is expanding. Third TC is on the way. So Gabe, he has a nice economic lead. Better start for Gabe, as he is moving out. Gabe is going to commit. Bearing in mind that Storm is ready for Trigger, he can take a fight. depending on the storms. As Trigger, he spots the main army. Trigger's aware. Gabe is setting up. Dropping into the main. Trigger's ready. He's ready, he will deflect. Medivacs will unload. Yeah, Trigger's too late. It's too late to move in. Immortal goes down. Once again, better trades for Gabe. He gets the Immortal, gets a High Templar as well. Gabe, he might just have too much here. There's what, one storm left. Not even. Famiri stems in, the rest of the army trying to respond, and Trigger, he's in trouble here. Trying to hold on, there's the storm. Storm comes out just in time, and Trigger, he should be able to hold on. Does get the tank, does hold. Whew, okay. Oh. Nice dodge. Nice dodge, better snipe there from Gabe. Does pull over, will lose some medivacs in the retreat here. Yeah, a bit of miscontrol by Gabe. He did not boost away. And he will lose everything. Every medevac goes down. Ay. Suddenly, this was not worth it. Gabe, he delayed the 4th base, sure, but he lost every single medevac. Lost 4 medevacs, the tank, the Marauders, the Marines, everything. Okay, we have it back and forth. Initially, it was a better start for Gabe, killing all those workers, but Gabe, he lost the entire army. Much more efficient fight for Trigger. Trigger dropping into the main. Does drop in. Storm, mainly Marauders. Still a lot of damage though. The Marauders, they send in the storms. They do send in. Immortal goes down. Drop into the main. Does go for the warp in. And we'll see what Trigger can get done. No major damage yet. Gabe, he did pull away in time. But SCVs are still going down at the 3rd. Stalkers, they find another Medivacs. They rally in. 2 Medivacs go down. Brutal storm of the Marines. And Trigger is pulling Gabe apart. He's just absolutely pulling him apart here. Gabe, he cannot keep up. Losing 12 SCVs. Finally, Gabe is stabilizing. At least trying to. Oh, gosh, that's Trigger. He's not stopping. He's not stopping. Nice mine connection in the main. He still has another storm. Dropping down over towards the mineral line. And again, there's just not much in position. It's a kill, not a cancel. Getting another medevac. Jeez, so many medevacs have gone down this game. So many. Still has a storm. Oh, does land. The storm lands. Storms once again have been brutal, and GG gets called. Gabe is broken, and Trigger, he will take the series 3-0, advancing on to the group stage. GG. Whew. GG, well played. It wasn't a bad start for Gabe, to be honest. Again, he was able to get a lot of economic damage. Despite that, though, he still moved out with his main army, which was a little bit questionable. He moved out with his bio, with his tank. Despite getting that economic lead, he wanted to get even more damage. He ran into storms, he ran into Trigger. Not just that, though, he lost everything. The tanks, the bio, the Marines, the Marauders, and the Medivacs. With that Trigger, he gained map control, he counterattacked, and at Gabe, he just didn't have the supply, didn't have the army left over, remaining to defend both the main base and the natural at the same time. He was torn apart. GG. GG, well played. With that, Trigger does snowball out of control, and Trigger with a I was gonna say a clean 3-0. A lot of these games were quite close, right? I'm winding it back to Tokamak. Tokamak could have gone either way. Tokamak was so very close, came down to the wire. I can see even Gresvan, if Gabe was maybe a little bit more tentative after the early damage, if he was maybe a little bit more careful and built up into a longer game, I can definitely see these games going back and forth, and even going to game 4, maybe even to game 5 as well. Regardless, GG. GG, well played. Trigger does claim it, and Trigger does advance on. Let us go. 12 probes and win 2 minutes later regardless. Classic Protoss. I mean, you're missing the fact that Gabe threw away his army. It's like, that's why I'm trying to emphasize that Gabe had a good start, and then he kind of lost his lead after losing everything across the map. There was kind of a lead up to that. But with that, GG. With that, GG, well played. With that, Trigger does claim the series, and we are halfway through. We're halfway through our series, we're halfway through our broadcast. As you can see here, we have Shin. Shin did take down Creator 3-2, advancing on. We had a Trigger taking down Gabe 3-0 as well, and now we have 2 series remaining. Another TvP. Bunny and Skillis are going to be facing off in the next round. We have another Turn versus Protoss matchup, followed by Lambo versus Estrella. We are halfway through. We're going to be going on a break, and when we come back, we'll have the rest of our broadcast. Will have the second half of our matches. See you then. See you soon for our next series. See you soon, Pappy. See you soon.